Bismillah walhamdulillah wassalatu wassalamu ala rasulillah wa ala alihi wa sahbihi ajma'in. Amma ba'd. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Today inshallah in our fiqh class, the topic is Salatul Musafir. The Salah of a Musafir, or the Ahkam, the laws pertaining to Safar and a journey. And as we mentioned, this class is an interactive class. Everything we teach in here is what we do in our daily lives. So with regards to Safar, there's two things. Safar, a journey, a person becoming a Musafir, and the laws connected to a Musafir. The laws connected to a Musafir. First, we would start with the laws connected to a Musafir, some of the laws that is connected to a Musafir, and then we would mention exactly when would a person qualified to be a Musafir, right? If you translate the word Musafir, you get what a traveler. So nowadays everybody traveling. How you going to buy a traveling? It is a traveler then. Right? How you going to Port of Spain? Well, a traveling. Right? So that literally meaning of traveling doesn't make a person a Musafir, doesn't make him a traveler by definition of the Sharia. So some of the laws pertaining to a Musafir is that he will do what you call Qasar. Qasar is to perform all of the 4 rakat into 2 rakat. Qasar is the shortening of the 4 rakat salah into 2 rakat. And this shortening of the 4 rakat into 2 rakat, this is something that is what? Wajib and obligatory in Hanafi madhab. Other madhab schools of thought, they see it as something optional. Right? They see it as something optional. Based on what the proof and evidence is, the Hanafi madhab regard it as something that is wajib. A person doesn't have the choice. He has to shorten his salah if he's a Musafir. So the Dhuhr, the Asr and the Isha, he would have to perform 2 rakat. Also, a person being qualified as a Musafir, he is given concession with regards to fasting in the month of Ramadan. Allah Azza wa Jal mentioned, in kuntum marada aw ala safarin. If a person is upon a journey, he is a Musafir. فَعِدَّةٌ مِّنْ أَيَّامٍ أُخَرٍ. Then he would make up for that fast in other days. Meaning he is given the concession to delay that fast.
Can you explain what makes a person a Musafir?
Yeah. That is going to mention afterwards. Right now we're mentioning what the laws. Right? So when we know, when a person becomes a Musafir, exactly at what point in time will the laws kick in? Right? So 2 laws we mentioned so far. Qasar. Right? Qasar, he would shorten all his 4 rakat. As for the Maghrib and Salat al-Fajr, it would remain as it is. 2 rakat, 3 rakat, we don't put 1.5, no. Maghrib remain as 3, Fajr remain as 2. Right? And the other concession given to that person is he's allowed to delay the fast of Ramadan. And he has a choice. He has a choice to fast in the month of Ramadan while he's a Musafir, or he has a choice to delay that fast until after Ramadan. Right. So if a person, he is given concession with regards to the fard, which is obligatory, concession is given to that person with regards to the fard salah, then obviously there is concession with regards to the sunnah. So if a person wants to leave out his sunnah while he is a Musafir, then that person is what? Not sinful. Even sunnah muakkada is not sinful, except that at least he should get what is 2 rakah before Salat al-Fajr. But if you look at traveling and journey in our time, is not that hectic and difficult. So a person, if it is easy for him, not hectic, not difficult, and hard upon a person, difficult upon a person, then he should offer his sunnah salah also. Right? He should offer his sunnah salah, especially the sunnah al-mu'akkada that was emphasized in the sunnah before and after the salah. So these are a few laws, and inshallah we'll explain as we go further. But now, as Ansari mentioned, but this is what the crux of the matter, when does a person considered to be a Musafir? At what point would the laws of Safar apply to that person? Is it that what? The laws of Safar, or Safar is what? Travel. The laws of what? Let me understand Safar, right? The laws of traveling, would it apply to that person upon reaching his destination or when he leaves his house? At what point in time would a person be considered a Musafir? Understand, when he is considered a Musafir, these laws would apply. And one of the laws also is what? Al-Mashu al-Khuffayn, wiping the leather socks. He is given what? 3 days. That person is allowed to wipe only 72 hours, as opposed to a Muqim and a resident is given 24 hours. So at what point? We have to go to the drawing board here. Alright. Or if you could understand it easy. When a person intends to travel a journey of 78 kilometers, we're not going down in the intricacies. Okay, how did the 78 kilometers come about, right? 78 kilometers, right? A person intends to travel 78 kilometers. He intends to travel a place, a destination which is 78 kilometers away from him. So how we checking that? Or how is that 78 kilometers or 58 or 48 miles checked or counted? It is counted from boundary to boundary and not point A to point B. Not where you live and not the exact spot, the exact house, the exact building or location that you are intending. It is from boundary to boundary. For example, we have one boundary here, one boundary here. Between these two boundaries, I'll show the paper just now. These two boundaries, this is, for example, 60 kilometers. But your house here, and where you're going is here. And between these two places is what? 77 kilometers. So this is where you live in here at A. That is your hometown. This is your hometown and this is the boundary of your hometown. This is the house you live in here. This is where you intended to go, right? The beach house or whatever, right? This is where you intend to go, right? But the boundary of that place is here. So between what? Your boundary and that boundary is just 60 kilometers, for example. 60 kilometers. So you would not be a Musafir. Upon reaching your destination, you would not be a Musafir. Even though from your house, you put on what? Your GPS or whatever is used to check the kilometers, the distance. Even from your house, even though from your house to this place, this exact location is what? 77, 78 or 100 kilometers. You are not a Musafir. You are not a Musafir. What is considered from boundary to boundary? Right? From boundary to boundary. Now, if a person, for example, just say between these two boundaries is 77 or 78, right? Most of these scholars 78 kilometers, right? Between what the two boundaries is what? 78 kilometers. Right, that is the distance, the Shari'i distance, right? Understand? It doesn't mean you're driving to see. No, you intend to go to a certain place, right? You intend to go to that place, and the place that you intend to go, that is what? The distance of 78 kilometers, right? So a person may have what? Prior knowledge, he may not have prior knowledge of what? The distance. But upon reaching, hey, this is what? 80, 100 kilometers. The important thing is what? You intended to go that place. You may not know how the distance between your boundary and the boundary of that place, right? But the important thing is what? You intend to go there, right? You intend to go there. So just say, for example, between the two boundaries is what? 78 kilometers, right? 78 kilometers. Now the question is, while traveling, you have to perform salah, right? You have to perform salah. So when would a person be able to do qasr? When will he shorten his salah? Upon reaching his destination? When? That person, he is allowed to what? Not allowed. He has to shorten his salah the moment he crosses the boundary of his hometown. Right? The moment he crosses the boundary of his hometown and salah time enters and he wants to offer salah, or he has to offer salah, then he will perform 2 rakah dhuhr, 2 rakah asr, 2 rakah isha. Understood? Even though, listen, this is his house here, right? His house here, and this is his masjid, right? Put on minaret, right? Between his house and the masjid is, between his house and the masjid that he normally goes is 40 kilometers. Just say 40 kilometers. And this is the masjid he normally goes to. Right? And this masjid is outside the boundary of his hometown. So normally when he go to his masjid, he would offer what? 4 rakah, dhuhr, asr, isha. That's his masjid. And it is outside the boundary of his hometown. So he would do what you call ikmal or itmam, completion. He would do 4 rakah. But if he left his hometown, with the intent of going here, and his destination is 78 or more kilometers, now when he leaves the boundary of his hometown, he becomes a musafir. He becomes a musafir, right? So if he were to go to the same masjid and he were to perform salah, for example, by himself, right? He will perform 2 rakah. So everybody watch it. So you perform in 2 rakah. How come you perform in 2 rakah? Because what the laws of safar type would apply to that person. The laws of safar, the laws of traveling would apply to that person the moment he crosses the boundary of his hometown. Right? The moment he crosses the boundary of his hometown, the laws of safar would apply. So he would continue performing qasr, shorten his salah until he reaches his destination. Right? Until he reaches his destination. And upon reaching his destination, what he would do? Would he continue shortening his salah or would he complete it? Right? It depends on that person's niyyah and intention. If he intends to stay at this place, the place his destination, if he intends to stay 15 days or more, if he intends to stay 15 days or more, he becomes a temporary resident, a muqim, a temporary resident, and this is called watan al-iqama, a temporary residence. And him being a temporary resident, he would complete his salah. He would perform 4 rakah, just like he would do at home. So you're far away, but upon reaching what? The destination, that person intend to stay for a duration of time of 15 days or more. He would complete his salah. He would complete his salah, meaning he would perform 4 rakah dhuhr, 4 rakah asr, 4 rakah isha. But if that person upon reaching his destination, he has no intention of staying 15 days or more. He intends to stay a few days, 5, 10, 15, not 15, 5, 10, 14 days, 1-4. That is less than 15. If this is his intent, right, then he would continue shortening his salah. He would continue doing qasr.
He will pray 4 rakats only when he arrives at the destination? Or?
No, he would continue to shorten his salah even upon reaching the destination.
No, if he intends to stay more than 15 days.
Right. Only upon what? Intending to stay 15 days or more would he complete his salah. Will he perform 4 rakat?
Okay, so if I'm leaving here to go to Bago for more than 15 days, it's not that once I leave cross my boundary, I become Musafir.
Once you cross your boundaries here, the boundaries of Barrackpore,
But if I intend to stay for more than 15 days,
if you intend to stay more than 15 days, and when you reach there, then you would what? Then you would complete your salah 4 rakah. But from here until there, you would keep on doing qasr, right? because the intention here doesn't really count, right? You could intend, when I reach Tobago, I would stay for 15 days, right? But when you go, you can change your mind. So whatever intention you make here before you reach your destination is what? Irrelevant. Upon reaching the destination, that intention, if it's the same intention, okay. But upon reaching the destination, that intention is considered. So even though, yes, I know when I reach Tobago, I'm going to stay for what? More than 15 days. So even though that is the intent, you would keep on doing qasr, shortening the salah, until you reach the destination. Upon reaching the destination, if that is the same intention and niyyah that you have, then you would start doing itmam and completing 4 rakat, right? Completed any 4 rakat.
How do you determine the boundaries?
Right, understand, determine boundaries has nothing to do with what? With the Sharia. In the sense, listen, whatever, look at what the maps, right? Look at the map, where Barrackpore is. It's not like, okay, where in the Quran you're going to find that, when the Hadith you're going to find that. Right? This is this town, right? This city, this area, what are the boundaries? And it's something we should know, right? We should know what the boundaries are. Listen, before, right? Before you have what? Long before, you have what? Towns, then you have what? Villages, and there's a big separation between town and the village, so they would know. Right? After this town finish, and next town will start. After this town finish, you have a big open area. Right? Whether it be desert or forest or whatever, just open area, and then after another would start, right? But as time passed, the cities start to expand and start to connect. So the moment you leave one, you enter the next one. So you're within the city itself. So you're not passing any desert or passing any abandoned land or any vast empty land, right? It's not like that. So you have to know the boundaries, right? Okay, this is people election, they tell you this, not really constituency, but they will tell you, okay, where Barrackpore finishes over here, Princetown starts there, right? Penal starts here, Davis starts there, right? This is something we should do, and do a little khidmat for the Muslims in the area, right? Where Marbella finish, where Gaspardo start, and like that. So the moment you leave the boundary of your hometown, this is when qasr starts, right? This is where you'll start doing your qasr, right?
So like using here as an example, I believe down there by the bridge, they have a sign welcome to Barrackpore. So from here to Monkton will be the boundary.
And after Monkton is where? They San Fernando?
Monkton before you want to get.
Right, so you'll do tahqiq and find out, right?
So we consider that.
No, but right, I mean, the matter very simple. Why? Because normally if you're going to pray, you'll stop out at a masjid. Right? If you're passing here, you might stop out in Victoria, you might stop out in Marble, and this is out of Barrackpore anyhow. You might stop in Princetown, like out of Barrackpore anyhow. Right? But still, if you want to stop from your vehicle or a friend's house or a family house and perform salah, yeah, you need to know, okay, where exactly it is. And look at the address. Right? Look at the address. I mean, before I left to go Pakistan, our address was always 4.5 mile mark St. Cross Road, Princetown. And when I came back, I see a new address, 710 St. Cross Road, Lengwa, Barrackpore. So they took us out of Princetown, put us in Barrackpore. So I know where I think that cutoff is up by the I don't know where Jet Posting Junction is or something or wherever. Alright? But that's very important. If somebody wants how we map it out. Alright, and we should do a little map it out, right? And that is a very good khidmah.
I'm trying to understand, okay, like I measure the distance from here to Maracas, it would be just about 80-something kilometers. So I'm trying to figure out, okay.
No, from here to Maracas, it would be 80-something kilometers if you're checking from your house.
Yeah. So I'm trying to determine where
right? Good, very good. Alright? And upon reaching Maracas, now remember you're going to the beach, right? We got to see, okay, that community, that town, that city where it actually starts from. It would start from the shore. It would start before the shore. Right? So where exactly the boundary is, this is where you're going to check. From Barrackpore to what? The boundary of Barrackpore to the boundary of Maracas. Right? And I don't think anybody from Barrackpore, they do qasr in Maracas. Alright? Right, so that they don't check from house to house, right? Building to building, from boundaries to boundaries, because this is connected to what? Towns and cities, right? And if somebody no, this is serious, this is a good khidmah, right? Yes, we have the country map out the constituencies and this and that, but if you can map it all, okay, the boundaries, this city, this town, right? No, these are information available. I mean, look at the address. The address says it's Barrackpore. If you go down that same place in Monkey Town you're speaking about, the address would be what? Right, so you would know exactly. I think the over is whole. I mean, everybody would know. Look at the address. You have the road and the trace and everything, but you must have that Barrackpore or that Pinal or that Davy or that Princestown. That must be in the address, right? So that's very important, right? And understand, if a person, for example, his intent from what? The boundary of his hometown, he intends to go here, right? And it is 78 kilometers, yes, the laws of Musafir would apply. But if that person now, for example, he went to the masjid, say this masjid, right? And from the masjid now, or from that place, his grandmother's house or friend's house, from there now he decide to go to this area. So from the boundary of his hometown to the boundary of what? The place that he intends is 78 kilometers. But he didn't make that intention from his hometown, right? He made that intention midway, right? So now what are you going to check? You're going to check what? From the place he made his intention, from that midway until the place of his destination. And if it is what? If it is 78 kilometers, then he's a Musafir. Otherwise, he's not a Musafir. Right? So you would see what? The same family that left, they left with the intention of what? Going one time. Right? So they are Musafir. You had no intention to go. Understand? You had no intention to go. But upon reaching here, you know what? Let me go and join them. Right? So when you reach here now, you do a 4 rakah. They will do 2 rakah. Understand the difference here? We're not speaking about a person who intends to go from what? This place to that place, and in the journey, you know, they're going to stop and visit friends and families on the way. You could do that, right? Well, what important, from here, your intention is what? This place. So, before going to this place, you could go and visit all your friends and families. Maybe you could even spend a night, 2 nights, but you're going here, and you'll be a Musafir once you leave the boundary of your hometown. But this scenario, this situation here, we're speaking about this scenario, you had no intention of going here. From your hometown, you had no intention of going here. You intend to visit one of your friends in this place here, right? And afterwards now, you decide, you know what, I'm going to go up with the family then. From here, you make that intention. So from here to that destination is not 78 kilometers, so you will not be a Musafir, right, upon reaching here. So you're not allowed to do qasr anyway, what? From here to here. Even upon reaching your destination, you're not allowed to do qasr. You're not allowed to shorten the salah.
So, see that you're using the boundaries of the towns. Does that mean that the route you take has nothing to do with...
Right, that's a good question, right? The routes you take, alright? So they have not difference of opinion really, right? According to the classical scholars, right, the classical fuqaha, it depends on the route, right? So for example, from what? From your hometown, from point A to point B, right? There are 2 routes or 2 routes, right? There are 2 routes, a person, 2 pathways he can take. A and B. A is a long pathway passing all by the mountain over and a long, right, off-road kind of thing, right? It doesn't have to be off-road anyhow, but it's a longer pathway, a longer way to reach. And this pathway A, it is what? 78 kilometers or more. And the next pathway is just what? 60 kilometers, both reaching the same destination, same place, right? According to the classical fuqaha, the classical jurists, It depends on the route that you take. If you take the longer route upon reaching the destination, you'll be a Musafir. If you take the shorter route, then upon reaching the destination, you will not be a Musafir. Why? You just covered 60 kilometers. Right? You just covered 60 kilometers and not 78 kilometers. Right? So the route is important. And when you speak about the route, right, the road, we're not taking out or looking at the map, right, and taking a thread from here to here and put it on the scale. No, we're not taking a straight line, right? You're taking the actual route, the actual road that will take you to that place, right? Because from point A to point B, it's not that the road is not be straight line. You might have to go so all whatever. So you're not taking what? You're taking the road itself, the actual route. Alright, and that's what you're going to use.
So just to clarify, if I even here and I go in San Fernando, but I go through my arrow and San and then come around, that would make Musafir, right?
Right, but see, in this area, in this case here now, that is not a route to San Fernando. Right? My arrow is not a route to San Fernando. Right? Otherwise you could what? Spin up and down like this, zigzag, and the time you would, right? It's not a route to San Fernando, right? You spin up, okay, routes to that place, right? There's not a route to San Fernando, right? So generally from here to San Fernando, a person would not be a Musafir if he were to take any of the normal routes. So if he were to go through wherever, Mayaro and come down and then go down wherever, and then reach San Fernando after what? 80 kilometers, he would not be a Musafir, right? He would not be a Musafir.
Okay, so what about then if you have more than one destination to go to, and using that route covers the distance then?
Like a salesman?
Well, possibly a salesman, or like if you're going to two places, like you have to go Port of Spain and do something, and then from Port of Spain you have to go, you say, Toko or something, or Arima or something.
Yeah, but what is the intent?
Well, whatever you have to do, right? You have to do some business or something. Say,
okay, no, make it practical then. Okay, you're in Barrackpore and you intend to go?
You have a stop to make in Port of Spain.
So you intend to go Port of Spain?
And then you have a next stop in Arima.
Right. So when you go Port of Spain, only then you intend to go Arima? Or you know that?
No, you leave it here knowing you have to go to both places.
Right, so your intent is what? From over here, your intent you already know, okay, you're going Port of Spain, then you're going Arima, then you're going wherever, right? So you look at what? From here to that place that you intend to go, right? You intend to go, is it what? The distance? 78 kilometers, right? If it's not 78 kilometers, then what? That person will not be a Musafir, right? So if he reaches Port of Spain, he's not a Musafir, right? So Port of Spain, when he goes to Arima, right? Still, he will not be a Musafir, right? That person, unless what? He intends to go to the furthest point then. So the further, where he, from here to where he a Musafir, Toko? Huh? Say Toko, right? So you say a person, what? His destination is what? Toko, right? His destination is Toko, and what? He passes through what? Remember, from home you intend to go Toko. You're not making intention from Port of Spain. You're making intention from your hometown. Right? So from here to Toko is what? A distance of Masafa Shar'i, over 78 kilometers. Right? So upon what? Leaving your hometown, you become a Musafir. Right? So yes, you can go Port of Spain, then you go Arima, and then what here? Your destination is Toko. So you become a Musafir in all these places. Right? And now you're returning home. Right? A person returning home. That person is what? Still a Musafir, right? Until he enters the boundary of his hometown. Right? Until he enters the boundary of his hometown. And when he enters the boundary of his hometown, there's not like intention, oh I intend. The moment a person enters the boundary of his hometown, he becomes a muqim, a resident. Whether he intends or he doesn't intend. Right? He becomes a resident. A muqim. Yeah, but you see that is what? Yeah, he has to get gas, but that's not the route to his destination. Right? That is not the actual route to his destination. Right? He what? He going off track and then coming back what? On the route. Right? That where he's going for the gas is not his what? The route to go to his destination. Otherwise, from here to San Fernando, it can be a Musafir. You zigzag like that, right? And you reach San Fernando, right? We're speaking about what? A route from what? Point A to point B, right? So that person going what? Routing from point A to point B, right? And midway in that what? In that pathway, he goes to his grandmother's house, or he goes to a friend's house, he goes for gas, whatever, and then what? He comes back in road. So if a person what? All this distance, you're going to check that, right? You're going to check from where he is, that normal route, right? The normal route is, if the normal route will be 78 kilometers or more, right? If it's going to be 78 kilometers or more, then that person will be a Musafir. If it is less than 78 kilometers, then that person will not be a Musafir, right? A person can be a Musafir from what? Any short distance, if what? If you go down the highway so, then come back so, and then go to your route then, right?
What about taxi take you off just like that? You have no control over that vehicle. Driver did that. When you cover the distance.
Yeah, what is covering the distance on the route? The route to that place.
No, you didn't know. You didn't know. Because first to begin, you have no knowledge of the distance from point A to B. But while traveling, you calculate the distance. You understand that driver took that route. You didn't know.
Yeah, but what we're speaking about here, the natural what? Even now, before you go to what? We have what you call Waze, right? You have your GPS, right? They might have one or two routes, right? So even before you reach your destination, they would route, okay, this is the route and this is what, how much kilometers, right? So if you taxi what, go all that now, you're not checking all these what, off-road and off-route distances, right? Where you're located and where you're going, the routes to that location, the normal routes or route to that location, what is the distance? What is the distance? So if the distance is what? Within what is 78 or more kilometers, then that person, he would be a Musafir, right? And as I mentioned also, he may not know the distance, but upon reaching, right, he finds out, okay, this is the amount of distance, and from my hometown to here, this is the amount of distance, right? Then he would what? That person, he'll be a Musafir upon knowing, right? But I mean, we live in that time now. It very listen. Long ago, a person would just what? If you have to go to a place, right, you would take the normal route to that place, right? And sometimes you might take a next route, okay, a safer route. It may be longer, but it's a safer route. Or you might take a route because you have something to do in that, right? But to just what? Go off track, off route for no reason or whatever reason, right? And come back. This distance, you're not going to check. Right, and we have apps now, right? If you say, okay, you're going to a certain location, right? They would say, it would mention, okay, this amount of kilometers, and that amount of kilometers is not a straight line, right? That is based on the route, right? The route provided, the road or the pathway to that destination, right? And you'll see. So if the taxi from here now, he went what? He take a detour and he went all that, right? All that direction over there. But when they put it, for example, they put it on your Waze and you see what? You see, okay, 60 kilometers. From here to here, 60 kilometers, right? Then afterwards, the taxi, he went here for gas, he went here to drop all this one day, then he come back and you see 100 kilometers, right? That distance is just 60 kilometers, right? The distance from what? Over here, the boundary to there is what? 60 kilometers. And that. No, a person cannot be a Musafir in his own hometown. 78 kilometers is about 48 miles, right? But listen, even though you travel within Barrackpore, right, 100 kilometers, right, you're still not a Musafir. Understand, Musafir is a traveler. You cannot be a traveler within your own city, within your own town, your own city, right? So you cannot be a Musafir even if you travel a whole day and you check it up and say, wait, 200 kilometers, right? A person cannot be what? Like big cities like what? Like, you know, big, like Karachi. Big cities, a person what? The distance, the Shari'i distance within the city itself, right? Within the city itself, but so long as a person traveling within the city, he could never be a Musafir. He could never be a traveler. Now,
just want to get a little clarification on the Port of Spain Arima. Right, so let me say I leave from here to Port of Spain, 70 kilometers. Or if I go from Barrackpore to Arima, 70 kilometers. But that day I have to go to Port of Spain and Arima. And so by the time I go to Port of Spain and I reach Arima, I do 100 kilometers. Does that make me a Musafir or will I not be a Musafir?
the intent is to go where?
Both places. I have something to do with Port of Spain.
Right, so your intent is to go Port of Spain
and Arima.
and Arima.
Yeah.
Arima first, right?
Well, everyone first. Port of Spain, but after go to one place and the second place,
No, but normally when you go, which way you go first?
Port of Spain, I guess.
You go Port of Spain, you go Arima, right? From here to Port of the intent is from here to Port of Spain, right? From here to Port of Spain, that is not any Masafa Shad'iyya, it's not a 78 kilometers. Neither here from here to Arima, right? From here to Arima is not what? It's not 78 kilometers, right? So you're not checking the distance, okay, from here to Port of Spain, then Port of Spain to Arima, then Arima you come back San Fernando, you're not checking like that. From here to Port of Spain, the person is not what? It's not 78 kilometers, he's not a Musafir. Whether he go to Port of Spain via Arima, or he go Arima first and then go Port of Spain, from here to Arima is not 78 kilometers, from here to Arima to Port of Spain is not 78 kilometers. So then in both cases, that person, he would not be a Musafir.
So the route would affect that, the route that you take?
No, but I mean the natural route from here to how you call it, from here to Port of Spain is not 78, right? And the normal route from here to Arima is not what? Is not 78. It's like a person, listen, a person, he want to go San Fernando, right? So from Barrackpore, he go what? Pinal. Then Pinal he go Siparia. Then Siparia go Debe. And like that, and take a spin, and then go San Fernando, and he get what? 78 kilometers, right? He still will not be a Musafir, right? He still wouldn't be a Musafir. You're not checking all these, because of course the normal route from here to San Fernando would not be through all Pinal, Siparia, and Debe, right? Even though he would cover that that distance. No. 78 kilometers. Now, go ahead. Class interact. Mashallah, interested. Everybody asks a question. Right. Understand here? You intend to go a place that this is the distance, right? And as you mentioned, the laws of traveling would kick in the moment a person, when he leaves the boundary of his own hometown, from which is as a few kilometers. Why? Because the intent is what? A destination that is 78 kilometers away from his hometown. Right? So we mentioned plenty of things over here. That's why I have to read and check and see. Okay, we cover all this. So what if a person, listen, you ask everybody travel, right? So you ask the questions. A person, for example, he performs 4 rakah instead of what? 2 rakah. Right? According to the Hanafi madhab, intentionally performing 4 rakah instead of 2 rakah, that is what? That is sinful. But a person what? He doesn't normally travel, so he normally will perform 4 rakah, right? So time for Dhuhr he performs 4 rakah, right? Is his salah valid or not? Right? Yes, his salah is valid, right? His salah would still be valid. The first 2 rakah would be considered his first salah, and the second 2 rakah would be considered any nafil salah. This is provided that he sat after the first 2 rakah. But yeah, we always sit after the first rakah, we know that, right? But listen, in a fard salah, normal fard salah, 4 rakah, if a person were to leave out the first sitting after the first 2 rakah, he forgets that sitting and he stood for the 3rd rakah without sitting, right? What is his salah valid? And we spend about 3 days, 4 days in sajah, in sahwa, and this and that, right? So first we have to understand what's the rule of that first sitting. In a 4 rakah salah, what's the ruling? Is wajib, right? It's a wajib act. So a person who unintentionally leaves off a wajib act, then his salah is valid. He just has to do sajah sahwa at the end, right? That is not a fard act. That is a wajib act, right? So his salah is still valid even though he leaves off that first sitting after 2 rakah. A musafir, right? After 2 rakah is his fard, right? If 2 rakah is his fard, that sitting after 2 rakah is his fard sitting. So if a musafir would offer 4 rakah and he does not what? Sit after 2 rakah, he forgets to sit after 2 rakah, right? And he performs 4 rakah and he sits only at the end after 4 rakah, then his salah, his entire 4 rakah will be considered nafil, and he would have to redo his fard. Right? He would have to redo his fard. But if that person were to sit after 2 rakah and then stand and complete the other 2 rakah, 4 rakah in all, right? Yes, his salah would be valid. The first 2 would be considered fard, and the second 2 would be considered nafil. Except that person he has to do sajda as-sahm. He would have to do sajda sahm. Why? Why he has to do sajda sahm? Why he delay? Good. Why he delay? He delayed salam. You understand? Because after that 2 rakah, he did the sitting, right? That sitting is wajib, right? And after that sitting is fard then. And after that sitting, what we have? The only wajib that remains is salam, right? But he didn't give salam, he stood. 3rd rakah, 4th rakah. So that 3rd rakah and 4th rakah came before the salam, right? So he delayed that salam. So because of delaying that wajib act, he would have to do sajda sahw at the end, right? Now we have what? The imamah of a musafir, right? Yes, a musafir, he has to perform 2 rakah, Dhuhr, Asr and Isha. But if a musafir with a join the congregation of a muqim, the imam is a resident, and the musafir is joining the congregation, he would perform 4 rakah in the congregation, right? Him being a muqtadi and a follower, he would what? Join the congregation and perform 4 rakah. He would not give what? Salam after 2 rakah and leave the congregation. No, I'm a musafir, I just perform in 2. No, you'll have to perform what? 4 with the imam, right? Now spin it the next way. You're making the imam, right? Or you're making the musafir an imam, right? The sheikh came from, right? The guest come, right? Big sheikh, qari, right? So give him the salah to lead, right? So now we have no issues if he recites, if he reads, or he leads Salat al-Fajr. 2 rakah for him, 2 rakah for us. Same. There's no issue of what? If he leads Salat al-Maghrib, for him is what? 3 rakah, for us is 3 raka'at. Right? Salat al-Isha, we don't give him what? Dhuhr and Asr, we don't hear him anyhow, so we do it. We want to hear him, right? We want to hear him recite. Right? So we give him Salatul Isha, right? Understand, if he is doing his Salatul Isha, how much is obligatory upon him? 2 rakah. How much is obligatory upon us? 4 rakah, right? So that's why we don't really give the Musafir to lead the Salatul Isha or Dhuhr or Asr. Why? Because after 2 rakah he will give salam. After 2 rakah he will give salam. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullah, assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullah. Then 2 things can happen. Either we know or we don't know. If we don't know, one with this man, why? Hey, subhanallah, you think he make a mistake. Right? You think the Imam make a mistake or you're at 2 rakah, is 4 rakat. Right? But the second thing that happen, right? We stand and we complete the salah. Right? But how we stand and complete the salah, there's many people don't know. Right? You don't stand and complete the salah like a masbook. Right? You didn't miss any part of the salah. And who's a masbook? A masbook is that person who missed 1 rakah or more of the Imam. So he would stand and he would do qada and he would make up for that 1 or 2 rakah he missed with the Imam. You now, you are not a masbook. You didn't miss any rakah of the Imam. Right? But yet you have to complete your salah. Your salah is 4 rakah. His is 2 rakah. So when what? When you stand, there's no recitation. He doesn't recite. Right? He's the rule of Allah, a person who is performing salah behind the Imam still. Right? So he would stand, he would not recite, no Fatiha. Right? No Fatiha. He would just stand for that duration of time of Subhanallah, at least 1, 2, 3 times. Then he would go into ruku'. Yes, tasbihat, Subhan Rabbiyal Azim. Then he would khalas, he would make his 2 sajda, and he would stand for his 4th rakah. In his 4th rakah, he would not recite Fatiha. Right? He would go into ruku', tasbih, type qawma, then 2 sajda, and then he would do at-tashahhud, at-tahiyyatu lillahi wa salawatu wa tayyibat, as-salah ala nabi, Allahumma salli ala Muhammad, dua and salam. Right? Dua and salam. He would not recite in these 2 rakah. Right? He would not recite in his 2 rakah like how a masbook and a latecomer would do. So that is why many masajid, they don't give the musafir, the traveler, to do Salatul Isha, right? Or Salatul Dhuhr, or Salatul Asr.
Is there anything in the Sharia that prevents the Musafir from leading?
No, nothing. There's no karaha, there's no dislike, nothing prevents the Musafir from leading, right? But in our time, because of the ignorance of the people, he should not lead, right? Unless what? You educate the people. Listen, the Imam going to recite 2 rakah, he going to give salam, and you would stand, and you would complete your salah without reciting in the 1st rakah, without reciting in the 2nd, the 3rd and the 4th rakah. And if they understand, good. But most of the time people don't understand, right? They don't understand. The moment he was after 2 rakah, right? They mentioned in the classical books of Fiqh that the Musafir, if he were to lead the salah after, and he gives salam, assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullah, assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullah, type atimmu salatakum fa inna qawmun safar. Complete your salah, for certainly we are travelers, we are Musafir. So if a person even though he say that, forget the Arabic language, he say it in the English language, complete your salah for we are travelers. Will he say that? And nullify his salah. Right? And immediately after this salam, Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullah, Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullah, you would see people at the back, Allahu Akbar, Subhanallah, thinking that the Imam is making a mistake. Right? So to protect the salah of the muqtadi, to protect the salah of the congregation, right, it's better that we don't appoint a musafir as an imam for any of the 4 rakah salah. right? The salah will still be valid, but that person doesn't recite, right? There's no recitation there, right? The salah will still be valid, right? Except that person, he should not recite.
So, I we say we're going up to Turku on a trip now.
For the Spain, Togo, Arima, good.
Turku will be Musafir from here, right? So we are Musafir from here. Or we pick up somebody, Charlieville. So when we reach Turku, we are Musafir, but they're not Musafir.
I didn't know Musafir.
Yeah, would it be better to put them to lead the Salat?
No, I mean, remember, if the only issue over here is when you have Salah in congregation, right? So once a person acquainted with the laws, there's no issue, right? So if the easiest thing is always what? The muqim in a congregation, the muqim be the imam, right? So the muqim, the resident be the imam, right? He would perform 4, and the musafir, he would perform 4 also following the imam, right? But the opposite doesn't work like that, right? If the musafir is the imam, then he would perform 2, and the muqim would not follow the imam in 2. No, he would stand and he would complete, right? So yeah, the easiest thing is always make the resident, the muqim, make him the imam, right? And if that person, he knows the laws pertaining to salah and that and recitation, whatever, that's the better thing to do.
Remember we had an incident like that where we went to hike up on Blanchard's, and we had some people from Central. So we said, well, all right, we go lead out because it will be 2 rakats so when we finish, you will continue yours. Because if we put you to lead all, we had to read 4.
No, khalas, you have 2 jama'ah if you want, right? Or the easiest thing is what? Right? The muqim, they lead, right? The 3rd and 4th rakah, only read us Fatiha anyhow, right? So not just 2 minutes extra. Let's hurry that in. I'm hungry. Right, so now we have Isha now. This was also last week. Now we pray 20 to 8, eh? So now, okay. We have probably continue next class the same topic or something else. For example, okay, we mentioned upon reaching the destination, a person make intention to stay for 15 days or more. Alright? He intended to stay 15 days or more in one place. But from there now he routed, he moving about. Right? So upon reaching the destination, yes, I stayed in this place for 15 days. Alright? But I want to go and visit that place. I want to go and visit that place. Alright? So now when that person leaves from his temporary residence, right, and he goes to what? Another place. Remember here he's doing what? Itmam is doing 4 rakah. Now he's what? He's traveling again to the next place. Remember this is where he's staying, right? But he's traveling, okay, 20 kilometers out, 40 kilometers there. Upon reaching that place, now would he do what? Qasr, or would he do itmam? Would he shorten his salah, or would he complete his salah? Right? This is like his home. That place he took temporary residence is like his residence. So if he were to leave there and go a place even 60 kilometers from there, right, he would still complete his salah 4 rakah. Right? He would do what? 4 rakah. During this time what? He would do what? 2 rakah if he what? Travels a distance of 78 kilometers from what? This temporary residence. Right? And if he does that now, then he would be what? A musafir there. Right? And now he's coming back to his what? His temporary residence. When he comes back to his temporary residence, he would still be a musafir. Alright? Why? Because this temporary resident got what? Cancelled because of another temporary resident. Right? Now you have this scenario where a person, he intends to stay what? At the destination for less than 15 days, right? 10 days. Right? So you go to Tobago then, or you go stay in Togo, you like to go Togo, right? But the intention is just what? 10 days, right? Because you're going to do some work, or you're going to install some AC. Right? So you check it out, okay, this is taking what? Just 10 days to do everything and sort of the whole building and whatever. Right? So your intent is 10 days. Then afterwards, the rain come, right? This worker come out, this happen, right? So you end up staying what? 20 days. Sorting all that. Right? 20 days. So even though a person, he stayed in that place for what? 20 days, he would still do qasam. Why? Because his intent is to stay for 10 days, right? And it keep increasing for whatever reason. Okay, 3 days again, 2 days again, 4 days again, until that person probably stay the whole month, right? He would still do qasam. Why? Because the intent was just to stay for what? 10 days, right? For example, that person a traveler, right? Immigration problem, listen, they're getting that he's going to stay in this place for just 10 days, sort out my passport and go, right? So every time you go to the immigration office, come back next week. So his intent is what? I just want my passport to go. So 1 week again. Come back next week. Right? Nice try that. Come back next week. Until the man stand up saying 3-4 months. But he do qasam still. Right? Because at no given point of time, he intended to stay 15 days or more. If at one point in time you say, you know what? I stayed there for a month. Right? I intend to stay for a month. Right? But no given time was his intention 15 days or more. Then he would keep on doing any qasar. Alright? And just one important masala, if you don't continue this next week, is what? We mentioned it, there's concession in what? Fasting. Right? But understand here, when exactly does the concession start? Right? That concession starts, understand? At the break of dawn, you check and see. We have a next important one we should mention. But before this one, okay. A person, he's a traveler by definition of Sharia. He's a Musafir. He happens to miss as-salah. He misses what? He happens to miss what? Salatul Dhuhr, for example. Right? Now, he has to do qadha, not so? So two scenarios here. He can do that qadha while he's a traveler, or when he comes back home as a resident, he can do that qadha. Right? These are two scenarios, but in both cases, his qadha would just be 2 rakah. You understand? Simple principle. How much was obligatory upon that person? At that time, salah was obligatory upon him. How many rakah was obligatory upon him? 2 or 4, right? And just this simple principle. When that salah was obligatory upon that person, because vice versa, a person missed salah and now he's a musafir, you know what? I want to do some qadha of my past salah. Right? He did qadha of 2 or he did qadha of 4. Simple. When that salah was obligatory upon him, how many rak'ah was obligatory upon him? Right? This is how much he's going to do qadha. So if that person is a musafir and he wants to do qadha that he missed while he was a resident, he will do qadha 4 rak'ah. Right? Whether he's a muqim or musafir, doesn't matter. Right? While doing qadha. He is a musafir and he missed what? He missed salat al-dhuhr. He has to do qadha. Whether he does qadha while he's a musafir or while he's a muqim, a resident, his qadha is 2 rak'ah. Right? His qadha is 2 rak'ah. Why? Because 2 rak'ah was obligatory upon him then. Right? So the qadha would follow suit. Right? Now we go back to the fasting. Right? A person is given concession to delay the fast. But listen, when fasting starts, when a person starts to fast, the break of dawn, right? The break of dawn until sunset. Alright? This is where fasting starts. So now a person has to look and see if at the break of dawn he is a musafir or not. Not that, my flight is 7:30. So you go into the airport, your flight is 7:30. Right? But where are you at the break of dawn? Are you a muqim? Are you a musafir? If you are a muqim and a resident at the break of dawn, then what? No concession. You will have to fast. Right? But my flight is 9 o'clock. Right? Yes, 9 o'clock, but at the break of dawn, are you a musafir or are you a traveler? Right? Khalas, if he's a muqim and a resident, right, even though you intend to travel at that time, you will still have to fast. Why? Because the concession is only given to a musafir. And when we're speaking about a musafir at the time of the break of dawn. Right? Now, I think we could stop here, inshallah, and continue next week. Right? Jazakumullah khairan. Subhanallah wa bihamdihi, subhanakallah wa bihamdihi, ashhadu an la ilaha illa anta, astaghfiruka wa atubu ilayk. Subhana rabbika rabbil izzati amma yasifun.